What's going on, guys? Hope you guys are doing well. Just recently got to unlock the second specialization for the tanker class that came out with Turning Tides. This specialization is called Convoy, and with it you're able to help repair your teammates' tanks while yourself repairing your own tank by giving your teammates' tanks a 2 health points per second if they're in the vicinity of a 10-meter radius. So DICE stated that their intent around this was to provide a benefit for land vehicles to move together. So trying to do what they were approaching with this whole specialization, which was kind of add a little bit of a new style of gameplay. So we'll see how this works with tank classes and how many more tankers begin to kind of work more in a pack than going more the lone wolf style. To unlock this new specialization, I had to do the Tanks for the Memories veteran challenges. But before I go into the challenges and the ones I chose and how I went about completing them, I first want to say, for those who haven't done the Tanks for the Memories basic challenges, to unlock the first new specialization for the tanker class, which is called Critical Cover, go check the annotation up above, because you're going to have to unlock that first before you can move on to unlocking the Convoy specialization. The first one on the list to do is get 25 multi-kills. Now, multi-kill is when you kill 2 enemy players or more at the exact same time. And this is an interesting one, mainly because this can kind of go hand in hand with some of the other missions that you have to do, where there's another one where you have to be in a heavy tank and get like 50 kills in that tank, so you can kind of maybe accumulate some of these multi-kills along the way. So I was kind of leaving this one off to the side and seeing how well I was progressing towards to it. But eventually it was not necessary for me to be in a heavy tank anymore, as I was completing those other missions that required me to be in one. So I eventually got out of it, went into a light tank, and found myself finding more opportunities to kill infantry players that way. You know, now of course you can get in a heavy tank, you get a multi-kills pretty easily by killing other enemy tanks that have multiple enemy players in it. But when it came to, you know, killing a bunch of infantry players who are not in a tank and they're all kind of running around, I found myself faring better using the light tank in that approach. Now, you can as well lay some anti-tank mines on the ground if you have a tank that can do that, and that might be a good option as well, to take out maybe tanks or enemy vehicles going across the map. But overall, I got the majority of my multi-kill just by using the light tank and using it in certain specific areas where I knew there'd be a good herd of enemy players all bunched up in one area. That would give me a good opportunity in getting these multi-kills. The second one I chose to do was disable 10 field guns. Now, I chose this one over the destroy 25 airplanes using the armored truck, just because I felt that I would probably get to the 10 field guns quicker than the 25 airplanes. It was just a kind of just a, you know, just something I felt that I would be able to achieve easier. You know, I think they might be both kind of equally, could be just as hard. These are probably the 2 more difficult ones out of the list to do. But I think if you take this strat off of how I approach the 10 field guns, you might be able to get the field guns quicker than the actual 25 airplane kills with the armored truck. Now, my strat for doing this was I went onto the operations game mode and went to specifically the Iron Walls one, where you get to play on Monte Grappa and Empire's Edge, and I made sure to be only on the attacking side each time, and I felt like that gave me a lot of opportunities to take out field guns, as there'll be plenty of field guns on the maps, on each of those maps, and a lot of times you'll see enemy players want to jump on those guns, as there's a good opportunity for them to try to take out tanks using them. So I found myself doing that. Now, keep in mind that you do have to have an enemy player in that field gun in order for you to disable it. So if you still try to fire at that field gun and there's no enemy player in it, you're not going to see a disabled vehicle pop up on your screen. However, if you do kill the enemy player that's in the field gun and you haven't seen that disabled field gun pop up yet, you can still shoot at it a couple more times and then you'll see it pop up afterwards. So the only really requirement here is to make sure there's actually an enemy player that's in it. So even if you don't kill the enemy player and maybe he jumps out, you can still shoot at the field gun and you'll eventually see the disabled field gun pop up. Now, the nice thing about this challenge itself is there's no requirement for you to be in a tank. So if you're in a situation where you can't get any tank and your teammates are in all the tanks that are available, you can disable it by using maybe an AT rocket gun, or in some situations I was finding myself jumping behind the actual enemy player in the field gun and throwing some dynamite on him, and I was disabling it that way as well too. So there's other ways to go around doing it if you can't get in a tank, so that is a nice little option right there. Now, like I was saying there just a little bit ago, I did choose that one over the Destroy 25 airplane with the armored truck just because I felt it would be easier for me. But maps like Monte Grappa are good maps to try to take out airplanes, as they can sometimes be flying pretty low, especially on that mountain up there, and if you place yourself in a good spot, you can take them out pretty easily. I even found myself on a game on Galatia, and I took out two airplanes, excuse me, quickly just by playing on that map. So, if that's a better option for you, you can definitely go down that route. Now, these last three over here kind of do work all together at the same time, especially these next two right here. So this first one here is, as a tanker, perform 100 heals. So I was in the heavy tank, and I was in the breakthrough variant one, which allows me to have a medic crate that I can drop. So that's how I was going about doing this, because the next one after that is perform 50 kills using a heavy tank. So it worked out pretty convenient that way, as I was just be able to kill enemy players and then keep dropping the medic crate, spamming as much as I can. Getting myself, where the teammates are at, where they're, in the midst of the fire, and finding the opportunities to get those 100 heals alongside the 50 kills. So that kind of worked hand in hand right next to each other. There's another thing too, you could accumulate some of the 25 multi-kills in the process of doing that. That one just came out a little bit later than the 100 kills and the 100 heals, and then the 50 kills was a heavy tank. So it took a little bit longer to get the 25 multi-kills. That's why I swapped over to the light tank. But you could probably do some, good amount of damage with the 25 multi-kills, even in the heavy tanks. So that's a nice little thing about some of these challenges, is they kind of work off together with each other. So that does make it a bit easier. And overall, in my opinion, I think the veteran for the tanks for the memories was actually a little bit easier than the tanks for the memories, the basic one. Now, moving on to the final one here, which is kind of an interesting one. This is kill an enemy elite using any tank. Because it's you feel like it would be actually pretty easy, which it is. It's just sometimes finding the opportunity to have this happen doesn't actually show up. It's the last one I think you should probably go for, just because this one I feel like will kind of come out of nowhere, as I wasn't really sure how I was going to approach this until eventually I've had the opportunity of a tank hunter running across the map, and I was able to finish him off. So this kind of comes out of nowhere. Unfortunately, operations mode kind of plays the elite classes a little bit differently than you would like on a conquest mode. So you might fare better going on maps like Galatia that have a lot of elite classes on that map if you want a higher chance of experiencing an elite class in a tank yourself. But I did find the opportunity did arise for me playing just on operations and just by playing it out. So that one that's kind of left at the very last one. I figured that that was the last one I was going to go after, and I ended up getting it like midway through. So nothing to go out of your way for, in my opinion. I think you'll probably get that eventually. Midway through, and I'll be kind of surprised if that is the last one for people to achieve out of the whole challenges list right here. But if that is the case, you might want to check out maps like Galatia, because those are really rich with elite classes and might give you a better options on taking out elite classes on that map. But that's it for you guys there, though. Hopefully that helps you guys out. Feel free to let me know down in the comments below maybe any different ways you guys have went about doing this. So if people come to this video at a later point in time, they can glean from all of our information and maybe make this an easier progress for them to achieve. But again, I appreciate you guys being here. I am Livin', and I'll catch you guys again later. Peace.